Switch this on. Will somebody be able to read? If not, then I can read. Deepika, you can read?
Yeah, can you hear me? I can read.
Yeah.
The associates of Radharani include her personal associates called Sakhis and her near assistants called Manjaris. It is very difficult to express the dealings of Radharani's associates with Krishna because they have no desire to mix with him or enjoy with him personally. Rather, they are always ready to help Radharani associate with Krishna. Their affection for Krishna and Radharani is so pure that they are simply satisfied when Radha and Krishna are
Together.
together. Indeed, their transcendental pleasure is in seeing Radha and Krishna united. The actual form of Radharani is just like a creeper embracing the tree of Krishna and the damsels of Braja. The associates of Radharani are just like the leaves and flowers of that creeper. When a creeper embraces a tree, the leaves and flowers of the creeper automatically embrace it. The Govinda Lila Amrit 10.16 describes the pleasure of Radharani associates as follows. Radharani, the expansion of the pleasure of potency of Krishna, is compared to a creeper, and her associates, the damsels of Braja, are compared to the flowers and leaves of that creeper. When Radharani and Krishna enjoy themselves, the damsels of Braja relish the pleasure more than Radharani herself.
So the associates are called Sakhis and Manjaris. The Sakhis are a little older. They are more like Radharani's age. And then there are the Manjaris who are the younger girls. And we can see, a lot of acharyas in our line, they are Manjaris, follower of Rupa Manjari. Rupa Manjari in Krishna Leela is one of the 8 principal Manjaris. And Rupa Manjari in Caitanya Leela came as Rupa Goswami. Similarly, the other Goswamis also Manjaris, and even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we were speaking to him. He is also a Manjari in Krishna Leela in Golok Vrindavan. So the desire of the associates of Radharani, the Manjaris especially, they are very happy just to see Radha and Krishna enjoy. They don't want to enjoy Krishna themselves. They want Radharani to enjoy with Krishna because they know she can please Krishna the most, and Krishna is the only one who can please Radharani. And in this way, they experience the highest pleasure. As Rāya Rāmānanda is saying here, that they relish pleasure more than Radharani herself. So even the gopis, the sakhis, but especially the manjaris. The manjaris are there even in the most intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Because the sakhis are a little older, they may be having other feelings, but the manjaris, they are younger. So their only desire is to see Radha and Krishna enjoy. We continue to read.
Although the associates of Radharani do not expect any personal attention from Krishna, Radharani is so pleased with them that she arranges individual meetings between Krishna and the damsels of Braja. Indeed, Radharani tries to unite her associates with Krishna by many transcendental maneuvers, and she takes more pleasure in these meetings than in her own meetings with him. When Krishna sees that both Radharani and her associates are pleased by his association, he becomes more satisfied. Such loving reciprocation has nothing to do with material lust, although it resembles the material union between man and woman. Because of that similarity, such reciprocation is sometimes called, in transcendental language, transcendental lust, as confirmed in Gautamiya Tantra. Lust means attachment to one's personal sense gratification. But as far as Radharani and her associates are concerned, They have no desire for personal sense gratification. They only want to satisfy Krishna. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.31.19 in a verse spoken by the gopis among themselves. You can help me with the verse, Shilpa?
Sure. Yatte sujata charanamburuham staneshu Vita shane priya dadima hikarkasheshu Tena tavimatasi tadvyatattena kimsve Kurpadibir brahmatidir bhavad ayushamna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. My dear friend Krishna, you are now roaming in the forest with your bare feet, which you sometimes keep on our breast. When your feet are on our breast, we think that our breasts are too hard for your soft feet. Now you are wandering in the forest and walking over rough stones, and we do not know how you are feeling. Since you are our life and soul, the displeasure you are undergoing in traveling over the rough stones is giving us great distress.
We are hearing that the gopis or the sakhis, the manjaris, the gopis, basically, they're all cowherd girls. Their desire is not to enjoy Krishna, but to give pleasure to Krishna. They feel happy when they're giving pleasure to Krishna. And in this way, they're experiencing more happiness than Krishna. And to experience this happiness, Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya. He was like, hey, you're pleasing me, but you're feeling more happier than me. What's happening? And he wanted to experience this pleasure. So he came as Lord Chaitanya.
Such feelings expressed by the damsels of Braja constitute the highest Krishna conscious emotions. Anyone who actually becomes captivated by Krishna consciousness approaches this level of the gopis. There are 64 categories of regulated devotional service, the performance of which helps one rise to the gopis to stage of unconditional devotion. Affection for Krishna on the level of gopis is called raga, spontaneous love. When one enters into spontaneous loving affair with Krishna, there is no need to follow the Vedic rules and regulations.
So Ragatmika, they are the Brajavasis. They are the Ragatmika Bhakta. And one who's engaging in Raganuga Bhakti, they follow in the footsteps of these Ragatmika Bhaktas. Raganuga Bhakti, of course, is very high level of devotion, cannot be imitated, but when one has really that spontaneous attraction to serve Krishna, then one follows in the footsteps of one of the inhabitants of Braj.
There are various kinds of personal devotees of Lord Krishna in the transcendental abode. For example, there are servants of Krishna like Raktaka and Patraka, and friends of Krishna like Sridama and Subala. There are also Krishna's parents, Nanda and Yashoda, who are also engaged in his service according to their respective transcendental emotions. One who desires to enter into supreme abode of Krishna can take shelter of one such transcendental servitor. Then, through the execution of loving service, one can ultimately attain transcendental affection for Krishna, the highest goal. In other words, the devotee in this material world who executes loving service in pursuance of the activities of their eternal associate with Krishna attains the same post when he is perfected.
So the Raganuga Bhakta, he follows a particular devotee of Braj. If he's in the mood of Vatsalya, he'll follow maybe in the footsteps of Yashodamai or Nanda Maharaj, or is in the service mood, then maybe Rakta, Bhakta. And outside the bhajan is going on, hearing, chanting, following the regulative principles is going on. But internally, the bhajan is following in the footsteps of this Brajabasi. So externally, still the devotee continues his duties of following the regulative principles, whatever, and then continues with hearing, chanting, worshipping the deity, but internally the mood is following the Brajpasi. And it's done under the guidance of a pure devotee who is also on this Raganuga platform. So, of course, it needs a lot of guidance, so that one can actually achieve success in this way.
The sages known as Shrutis, the personified Upanishads, also desired the post of gopis, and they also followed in the footsteps of the gopis in order to attain the highest goal of life. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.87.23, where it is said that in general sages control their mind and senses by practicing pranayama, control of the breathing process, and mystic yoga. Thus, they try to merge into Supreme Brahman. But the same goal is attained by atheists who deny the existence of God if they are killed by an incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead. They also merge into Brahman, existence of the Supreme Lord. But the damsels of Vrindavan worship Krishna, having been bitten by him just as a person is bitten by a snake. For Krishna's body is compared with the body of a snake. A snake's body is never straight, it is always curved. Similarly, Krishna often stands in a three-curved posture, and he has bitten the gopis with transcendental love. The gopis are certainly better situated than all mystic yogis and others who desire to merge into Supreme Brahman. Therefore, the sages known as the Shrutis followed in the footsteps of damsels of Braja in order to attain a similar position. One cannot attain that position simply by following the regulative principles. Rather, one must seriously follow the principles of the gopis. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.9.21, wherein it is stated that Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Srimati Yashoda, is not easily available to those following the principles of mental speculation, but is very easily available to all kinds of living beings who follow the path of spontaneous devotional service.
So the personified Vedas, the Vedas personified, they also are following in the footsteps of the gopis. They also became gopis and entered the rasa dance with Krishna. They are singing the glories of Krishna, and they understand that the highest perfection is to be situated on the platform of the gopis. So they are like, if one has to merge into the Brahman, then that is so easy. One can be an atheist also and be killed by Krishna and enter into the Brahman, like Shishupal. He was killed by Krishna. He entered into Krishna's effulgence. No, they could see Shishupal's soul coming and entering into the body of Krishna. Or even Agasur, he got this impersonal liberation. So they're like, oh, to get impersonal liberation is not so difficult. But they want to be situated on the highest platform by following in the footsteps of the gopis. So path of spontaneous devotional service, this is Raganuga Bhakti.
There are many pseudo-devotees claiming to belong to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sect who artificially dress themselves as the damsels of Raja. This is not approved by advanced spiritualists or advanced students of devotional service. Such people dress the outward material body because they foolishly confuse the body with the soul. They are mistaken when they think that the spiritual bodies of Krishna, Radharani, and their associates, the damsels of Raja, are composed of material nature. One should know perfectly well that all such manifestations are expansions of eternal bliss and knowledge in the transcendental world. They have nothing to do with these material bodies. Thus, the bodies, dresses, decorations, and activities of damsels of Vrindavan do not belong to this material cosmic manifestation. The damsels of Vrindavan are not a subject for attraction of those in the material world. They are transcendental attractions for the all attractive Krishna. Because the Lord is all attractive, he is called Krishna. But the damsels of Vrindavan are attractive even to Krishna. Therefore, they are not of this material world.
Some devotees not understanding that what does it actually mean to follow in the footsteps of the gopis one may artificially try to imitate dressing like a gopi, but this is not what is meant by Raganuga Bhakti, because it's nothing to do with the body. This is what we are trying to understand. It is the emotion of the soul. So dressing the body in a certain way does not mean that this is Raganuga Bhakti. And we can see that the pure devotees who are really on the Raganuga platform, they'll just dress normally, act very normal, wouldn't even come to know what's happening. It's not like to make a show of anything. So the devotee who's actually on the Raganuga platform, outwardly he will follow all the regulative principles that are to be followed, will dress in the appropriate manner, and under the guidance of a senior devotee, he will engage in this Raganuga bhajan. So Krishna is all attractive, that's why he's called Krishna. And the gopis, they attract even him. So here Raya Rāmānanda is trying to explain to us that the gopis, they are not material. The bodies are not material. Us trying to dress up in a certain way, we are thinking that the gopis are material, but no, they are on the transcendental platform.
If one wrongly thinks that the material body is as perfect as the spiritual body, and thus begins to worship Krishna by imitating the damsels of Vrindavan, he becomes infested with Mayavad, impersonal philosophy. The impersonalists recommend a process of ahangrabhopasana, by which one worships his own body as the supreme. Thinking in this way, such pseudo-transcendentalists dress themselves as the damsels of Vraja. Such activities are not acceptable in devotional service. Srila Jiva Goswami, the most authoritative Acharya in the Gaudiya Samprada, has condemned these imitators. The process of transcendental realization is to follow in the footsteps of the associates of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, to think oneself as a direct associate of Supreme Lord is condemned. According to authorized Vaishnava principles, one should follow a particular devotee and not think of himself as Krishna's associate.
Because we may misunderstand this transcendental subject matter, and we may think that, okay, the gopis are also material, let me dress up as the gopis. But this is not what this acharyas are teaching us. So that's why they are called pseudo-transcendentalists, pretending, and we should not become one of that. So Jiva Goswami, of course, is speaking out against this, and he's saying that that's what Lord Caitanya taught us, following in the footsteps of the servant of the servants of the servants of the servant. And that's how we should be, following in the mood of the servant. Krishna says, one who thinks who's my devotee is not my devotee, but who thinks is a devotee of my devotee is really my devotee. So Krishna cannot be approached directly by us, because we are on this material platform right now. So, like for example, even Raghunath Das Goswami, he would not directly speak to Lord Chaitanya. He would go through Swarup Damodar. They were living in Jagannath Puri, but Raghunath Das Goswami would not directly approach Lord Chaitanya. Anything he had to ask, he would ask through Swarup Damodar. So, like, following the authority.
In this way, Rāmānanda Rāya explained that one should accept the mood of the damsels of Vraja. In the Caitanya Caritamita, it is clearly said that one should accept the emotional activities of associates of Krishna, not imitate their dress. One should also always meditate upon the dealings between Radha and Krishna in transcendental world. One should think of Radha and Krishna 24 hours a day and engaged in their service within one's mind, not externally change one's dress. By adopting the mood of the associates and friends of Radharani and following in their footsteps, one can ultimately achieve the perfectional stage of being transferred to Golok Vrindavan, the transcendental abode of Krishna.
So the mood of the gopis to love Krishna in separation. That's how the six Goswamis also taught. They didn't say, oh, here is Radha Krishna, I'm dancing with them. The six Goswamis were always, where is Radha? Where is Krishna? Where is Lalita? In the mood of separation. The gopis were always in the mood of separation from Krishna. So we are encouraged to develop this mood, not imitate the gopis, but the emotion that the gopis have.
By adopting this emotional mood of following in the footsteps of the gopis, one attains his Siddha. This word indicates the pure spiritual body, which is beyond the senses, mind, and intelligence. The Siddha is the purified soul who is just suitable to serve the Supreme Lord. No one can serve the Supreme Lord as his associate without being situated in his perfectly pure spiritual identity. That identity is completely free from all material contamination, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. A materially contaminated person transmigrates to another material body by material consciousness. At the time of death, he thinks materially and is therefore transferred to another material body. Similarly, one who at the time of death is situated in his pure spiritual identity thinks of spiritual loving service rendered to the Supreme Lord and is transferred to the spiritual kingdom to enter into the association of Krishna. In other words, the qualifications for being transferred to the spiritual kingdom at the time of death is to think in one's spiritual identity of Krishna and his associates. No one can contemplate the activities of the spiritual kingdom without being situated in his pure spiritual identity, Siddha. Thus, Rāmānanda Rāya said that without attaining one's Siddha, one can neither become an associate of the damsels of Vraja nor render service directly to the personality of Godhead, Krishna, and his eternal consort, Radharani. In this regard, Rāmānanda quoted a nice verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.47.60.
Ayam Shivanga Uninantarate Prasada Swaryo Shitamna Linagandarucham Kutonya Asotsavisya Mujadanda Grihe Takanta Labda Shishamya Yugat Brija Valabhina.
Neither the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, nor the damsels of heavenly kingdom can attain the facilities of the damsels of Brajabhumi, and what to speak of others.
So we cannot imitate, just follow in the footsteps. Follow in the footsteps of the pure devotees.
Lord Chaitanya was very satisfied to hear these statements from Rāmānanda Rāya, and he embraced him. Then both of them began to cry in ecstasy of transcendental realization. Thus, the Lord and Rāmānanda Rāya discussed the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna throughout the night, and in the morning they separated. Rāmānanda left to go to his place, and the Lord went to take his bath. At the time of separation, Rāmānanda fell at the feet of Lord Caitanya and prayed, "My dear Lord, you have come just to deliver me from this mire of nescience. Therefore, I request that you remain here for at least 10 days to purify my mind of material contamination. There is no one else who can deliver such transcendental love of God." The Lord replied, "I have come to you to purify myself by hearing from you the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I am so fortunate, for you are the only teacher of such transcendental pastimes. I can find no one else in the world who has realized the transcendental loving reciprocation between Radha and Krishna. You are asking me to stay here for 10 days, but I wish to remain with you for the rest of my life. Please come to Jagannath Puri, my headquarters, and we will remain together for the rest of our life. Thus, I can pass my remaining days in understanding Krishna and Radha by your association."
So Lord Chaitanya asks Ramananda Rai to give up his service, to retire from government service and come to Jagannath Puri, and they would discuss all the confidential pastimes. Lord Chaitanya never discussed the confidential pastimes with everyone, just with his close, very close associates. With others, he would just chant, do the Harinam Sankirtan. So we'll stop here for today. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.